we'll see what the Cardinals are able to do against Velasquez. And then the rest of the series, I think it's a lot more interesting on Friday when you come to the pitching matchup, because I would make the case that the Cardinals actually do not have the pitching advantage in that matchup. Johan Oviedo is currently scheduled to pitch for the Pirates, and he had a really good outing in his last start. He's got an ERA of 3.18 this season. He will be opposed by Jake Woodford for the Cardinals. Big start for Woodford. I think that's one that he needs to be able to win in order to, I don't know, I might even say in order to keep his spot in the rotation. And the reason that I say that is because Matthew Liberatore was at it again, folks. He had, I'm trying to pull up the exact stats right now, but he was blowing guys away. I saw Kyle Reese putting up a gif of his 8th strikeout of the game. 97.5 miles per hour, I believe, was the numbers there. And he improved himself tonight, Matthew Liberatore did, to a 3-0 record with a 1.06 earned run average for the season. The Redbirds were taking on Gwinnett. Also from that ball game, maybe people would be happy to know, Paul DeYoung going 2 for 5 with 3 runs driven in, and Mason Wynn hitting a home run, his first of the season for Memphis. So some fun stories all around from that Memphis game. DeYoung did strike out a couple of times, but 3 for 6 for Mason Wynn, 2 for 5 with 3 ribs for Paul DeYoung. Great to see. 7 innings, 2 runs allowed, 10 strikeouts for Matthew Liberatore. Did give up a home run, did walk 3 batters, only allowed 3 hits though. So if you're looking at it from a base runner perspective, still fewer than 1 per inning. Okay, how much more of a sample size do we need to see to recognize that Matthew Liberatore is a different pitcher at this point? I think it's a bona fide yes. Each of his 3 starts that we've seen so far, he's been hitting 97, 98 on the radar gun with the fastball. That is a jump from where he had been last year. And the consistency of it at this point, I think, is what's most impressive. Again, I will reiterate that Ollie Marmol, it was the first week of the season. After the first Liberatore start, we were in his office, and somebody had mentioned the Liberatore start, his first of the year at the time for Memphis, asked Ollie if he had seen it or had any impressions of it, and you could tell by the look on Ollie Marmol's face that he expects and the Cardinals expect to see a different version of Matthew Liberatore this year. And he said, it's a different guy. It's a different guy than what you've seen in the past. It's going to be, and he said it in a tense that says, yes, that guy's on the way. It's just a matter of when, not if. And so I think Matthew Liberatore could be, with the 3rd start that he had tonight, another really good one. And again, the missing bats, the fact that you're missing bats and striking 10 guys out, that's an element that I think would have really helped him out at the big league level last year when he sort of struggled through outings with efficiency, didn't have the bulldog mentality. Remember, I've talked about that as well, that at winter warmup, that was the main takeaway I had from the conversation with Matthew Liberatore. He admitted that maybe at times last year he did not feel quite comfortable enough to really have the mentality that he feels is what you have to be successful on the mound, the bulldog mentality. Go after hitters. You want to respect hitters for who they are, but at the same time, you don't want to treat them like they're anything to be afraid of, because you've got some talent that they should be worried about as well. And so I think just getting a little bit comfortable in himself, it's a process that probably started in the offseason, but really solidified in spring training when he was able to get there, have some success against some, mostly big league caliber hitters. Obviously, you see all kinds down there at spring, but then he's continued that into the AAA Memphis season, now for 3 starts in a row. So it's a situation to me where, and I know it doesn't line up perfectly, but if they believe that Matthew Liberatore can give them better starts right now than somebody in their rotation, I don't know if it's crazy to necessarily go to make a move. The other part of this, though, that is a factor. Well, first of all, it's Jake Woodford, and I have said he did deserve to have the 3rd outing, and he's going to have it, it looks like, coming up over the weekend. Going to be on Friday, which is a 7:15 start, I believe, at Busch Stadium. Get the weekend start time on the Friday night game. That's a big start for Woodford, because he might be losing his rotation spot anyway when it comes to Adam Wainwright throwing bullpens, working his way back. But he also would like to keep his spot on the roster, which I do believe, Matthew Liberatore is not probably going to be threatening for Woodford's spot on the roster if you're talking about like a long relief role. I think there is more value to having Liberatore down at Memphis ready to go at the drop of a hat to join the Cardinals rotation in St. Louis. I don't really think you're going to bring him up and have him in a kind of a meaningless long relief role, which is not to say that Jake Woodford wouldn't love to stay on the roster if that's the only way he's going to do so. They're going to have to make some sort of decision when it comes to Wainwright being activated, whenever that should come. But I really do think it's interesting that, like, he had a great spring. That's why Jake Woodford was given this opportunity, and he was certainly deserving of it, right? But how much leverage does that give you to maintain your spot in the rotation if you're not having good outings, you're not having good starts? So, first couple for Woodford have been rough. This is against a Pirates lineup that you get it at home. It's perfect circumstances. I think the Cardinals are going to want to see more out of him in this game, and if they don't, then you could potentially start to think about the roster situation and what that might look like. But like I said, there are the extenuating circumstances of Adam Wainwright returning. So that could be the thing that puts a lid on Liberatore, but you're going to see him before long. And when you do, I don't think the Cardinals are going to have a very easy time taking him out of the rotation. Like if it's a deal where Matthew Liberatore comes up for 3 starts because somebody goes on the 15-day IL, but then that player is ready to come back, I think there's a case where Matthew Liberatore just is able to get here and dare you to take him out of the rotation at that point. And it may be complicated, right? We've heard that word before when it comes to roster moves. But once Liberatore gets here, if he continues to pitch the way that he's pitching right now in Memphis, it's going to be really difficult for the Cardinals to remove him after that if he continues to show that level of talent at the big league level. So really excited about what Liberatore has done. Jake Woodford has a chance to reestablish the excitement about his game as well. He was missing a lot of bats in spring. The Cardinals were excited about him for good reason. The onus is on him, though, at this point. Start number 3, I think, needs to be a big one for Woodford to sort of maintain the status that he had coming into the season.